communicating to people what science is, I think, takes a bit of the scary side of science away. I think it's always nice to talk to someone and realize, like, oh, this is, you know, a scientist, but also like a human being. So I am Erika. I am, or was, a PhD student in the group of Professor Jürgen Hauer at TUM in the former Department of Chemistry, which is now the School of Natural Sciences. And I am also still there because I just finished my PhD. So I'm doing a 6-month postdoc phase there. And I was part of the IMPRS throughout my PhD, so from the first year, since 2021. So I'm a spectroscopist, so that means that I did spectroscopy, obviously. Specifically, in Jürgen's group, we do time-resolved ultrafast spectroscopy. That means we use a technique called transient absorption, which basically aims at exciting molecules and then probing their response over time. And we apply that, or I specifically apply that to biological molecules, so molecules that are relevant for photosynthesis, for example. This has been the focus of my PhD. I've been looking into mostly chlorophylls and how they behave after they absorb light. I really like how fundamental it is. So I always used to think that I was going to do something really applied. Like when I started studying chemistry, I chose this particular field because I thought it's so industrially relevant and I really want to do something really practical. But as the years went by, I realized that I really enjoy just having a problem that I can focus on, and it does not have to be practical, like in the application sense. And so I really like just having this opportunity to just look into these really fundamental things by doing a practical experiment on them. This is, to me, really a nice combination of things. Yeah. Ooh, that's really tough. I don't know. I would say definitely not a scientific one. I mean, I did learn a lot about science, but I feel like probably just the resilience that you kind of have to acquire when you do a PhD, because things don't work out. 90% of the time they just don't work, and you don't always know why, which makes it really hard, I think, to just keep going kind of every day. And that strength that one has to build, I would say, was probably the best lesson I am taking away with me now, because it's really useful and it makes you feel stronger also as a person. I think the best advice I can give is just to try and like be curious about things, like just ask questions, because I did not do that a lot when I started out. I thought everyone would think I'm stupid or that I don't know a lot of things because I didn't have this physics background that was necessary. But that's when I should have tried to acquire it by asking, and I just didn't do that. And this was really hard for me then because I had to learn everything myself. So I guess the best advice I can give is just really to like not be afraid to look dumb, because the beginning of the PhD is when you're supposed to be dumb and everyone will expect that you don't know what you're doing. And so it's fine, it's perfectly fine to just ask things. And yeah, people should not shy away from that. The thing that I'm trying to do is to just try and be supportive to the few other women that I find, and just kind of be a model for them, because I think since we don't have that many, like the few that you meet can really make an impact on your career. They have for me in a positive and in a negative way. So I've encountered both. Just try to like help out and support and just be there instead of viewing other women, particularly as competition, is really important. So I think in general, like as a researcher, we don't work as hard as maybe we should on like bringing our results to the open. Yeah, not just to other researchers, because obviously we do that in conferences and we show posters and then we meet and talk about it. But I'm thinking more like the general audience. They should, because they partly fund our research, I think they have a right to know what we're doing. And so I think science communication is really important. Like it has been throughout my PhD. I have tried to do as much of it as I humanly could while still working. And that has been really rewarding. So we've worked like for this Girls' Day, for example. We had people come to our lab. We have done information fairs for like younger students in their bachelors. I am personally part of an organization called Soapbox Science, which also deals with bringing science from women and queer people to like the general public. And I really think that's important. I would like to see more people doing it, honestly. Like communicating to people what science is, I think takes a bit of the scary side of science away. I think it's always nice to talk to someone and realize like, oh, this is a scientist, but also like a human being, a person who is not like super intelligent and completely impossible to talk to, just a person, yeah. In my case, really internal motivation, I guess. Like, I also, again, I kind of want to be a model, right, for people, especially the soapbox science thing, where it's women presenting their research. I think that's so important because I would have liked to see more women scientists growing up. I'm lucky that my mother is one. Otherwise, I don't know if I would have gone in this direction. But not everyone has that, and so I think, I got so much, like, in my life. I was very privileged to have a good education and be able to move to Germany and follow my degree here and get this PhD position, and it just feels like giving back a little bit. I think it's something that if I didn't do it, I would feel very bad about myself. I think really what I wanted was to just have a community of people because the graduate school in TUM, yes, they have events for PhD students, but it's a pretty large group, and it's tough to kind of find your own circle. And in the IMPRS, this is a little bit easier. There's a bit less people. Everyone's quite specialized on a specific part of physics. And so I figured this would be like a great community for me to kind of find the beginning of my PhD in, so to speak. So, yeah. I mean, I benefited in several ways, I would say. The most important or most prominent one being probably the financial one, because IMPRS has sponsored all of my conferences throughout my PhD, which was great because I got to go to a lot, more than maybe some of my coworkers. I want to say the lectures and the programs, but I did join IMPRS at a time when there was COVID, so there was not that much in person. It was nice to do online things, but I've been to a few of the in-person things now, and it's just better. It's just nicer. But still, I mean, I did get to listen to, for instance, some lectures which maybe I would not have chosen, like some semiconductor things. So I would say it has broadened my scope a little bit.